Hello lords and ladies, RoboCharged here, and welcome to Rivercrest. Lately I've spent quite a bit of time playing Foundation and working on this city. So for this video, I'll go over the best building tips and tricks I picked up during my time completing this project. Let's get to it. Building a city takes some planning to ensure the needed infrastructure is in place in order for it to grow and thrive. Layouts where important buildings such as churches, markets, wells, and tax offices are placed in a central location and surrounded by housing tend to work best, especially in the early going when space is hard to come by. I like to use this outline as a rough blueprint to follow when deciding where to put down buildings. These layers can take on any kind of different shape depending on the terrain and available space, and you can create multiple forms of these as additional hubs as needed. But following this basic general setup will not only allow you to easily increase housing density, but also keep all your residents' needs met while allowing them to live near their workplaces, and without them being too close to be negatively affected by the ones that are undesirable to live near. Houses can be built on a minimum size 12 painted residential area, so if you start at the smallest size and expand your brush 11 times from there, that will give you the smallest possible brush to designate a spot that can have a house built on it. Upgrading your initial housing to medium density, which holds 6 people instead of 2, is as simple as building a manor house watch post and then painting patrols and providing light fortification, either with a surrounding wall or strategically placed watchtowers. When it comes to resources, I like to set up a granary or warehouse near where each resource is gathered or produced, and then another one near each market hub. Then set the central storage buildings near markets to stock maximum. That allows for transporters to pull resources from other storage buildings as well, instead of just from the production or gathering buildings themselves, in order to keep goods flowing quickly into the heart of the city. As your settlement grows and you ramp up the resource production scale, it's a good idea to start dedicating a single storage building with extensions for each resource type. And if you find your transporters have to travel a long distance, you can even add yet another storage building in between as a sort of midway point to help improve production chain efficiency. Tools are the first resource you will likely need to purchase in order to continue building your village. Just remember, when you set the inventory to maintain a certain amount in the Royal Book, to also add them as a resource in a warehouse, in order for you to actually begin stocking them. If you don't, you'll end up waiting as traders come and go without ever actually acquiring any. This applies to all resources that you may wish to trade for. Eventually you can make your own tools, but it's not necessary or even really worth it early on, as you need to first produce iron ore, iron bars, and charcoal, all in order to make them. But when you do look to begin producing tools, the charcoal hut should ideally be built near a marked woodcutting area with available trees. This caused me some confusion at first, since the workers actually harvest their own trees, instead of getting wood from a warehouse. Also, mines aren't found in the build menu. In order to build a mine, you'll first need to get your bailiff to prospect a resource site. Then once he's finished, you can click on it and use the Edit Building button to attach a mine. And one last note on tools, when you unlock your first extended village edict early on, choosing careful planning can really help, since it allows for you to refund half of the tools used during construction of a building. Unlocking new buildings in each of the labor, kingdom, and clergy progression paths requires you to gain Splendor. The easiest way to accomplish that is to spam decorations around a building of each type. Even simply placing a bunch of rose bushes stacked on top of each other in one place works to achieve the required amount. Additionally, you can also gain some powerful bonuses to things like trade prices, villager happiness, and job learning from Splendor. The Manor House Bailiff Office, Castle Royal Office, and Emissary Office found in the monastery all give you a bonus when you hire a bailiff, courtier, or emissary. You can then greatly increase that bonus as it's tied to each building's splendor.
Have you ever seen anything so full of splendor?
But if you're attempting to do that by editing an existing building after already hiring someone, you'll need to fire them and then choose a new candidate for the updated Splendor bonus to take effect. The Emissary Office doesn't allow you to fire the emissary once chosen, but you can get around that by switching the building's function to free build and then switching it back, and that will clear the emissary position, allowing for a new hire. When undertaking a big project, such as building major monument structures, it's a good idea to place a builder's workshop right near the construction site for efficiency. Some of these buildings take a long time to build, and it only costs 5 wood to instantly place a new one, or just 1 coin to move an existing workshop. You can toggle part snapping on and off by clicking here, or using T as a shortcut. This comes in really handy if you want to place a part where there isn't a good snap-on circle option, since sometimes the snap-on can pull it away from where you want it to be. Also, you can even toggle the interior access visibility with this other side button while building. That really helps when the red or green zones impede your view when trying to place building parts. And as long as a building's parts or decorations are touching, which is indicated by the blue outline, then double-clicking on a part of the building will allow you to select all of the parts to move or rotate together as one. This includes things like the many stonemason hut or lumber camp improvement items. And you can even hold Control and click on separate parts of a building to select specific ones to move, rotate, or even delete together all at once as well. And when building walls, not only can you switch between round or sharp corners, but you can hit this flip button to switch which side of the wall faces in or out. Next, I have some general building tips that the game doesn't exactly make clear initially on its own. When free building, you can't go back later and separate or divide a building into multiple sub-buildings if you build it all at once. You can only add on to it. So if you are free building with actual future building functions in mind, it's best to add sub-buildings as you go. If you don't know what you want them to be yet, you can make them all free builds as well. But at least that way, you can have multiple functions in one building, instead of just the whole large structure only being able to serve one single function afterwards. You can get away with separate large free builds for things like a huge castle, and then just assign each one a function later on, like I did here if you want. But in order for the monastery to work, using sub-buildings is absolutely critical.
I learned that the hard way.
If you don't, the monks and nuns won't ever be assigned to do anything, and there is no way to manually assign them since it's handled automatically. So I'd recommend building the chapel first, and then using the Add Sub-Building menu to next build the monk and or nun dorms. Then you can just continue to expand by adding the rest of the sub-buildings from there. Putting a window or hoarding over the gatehouse entrance will block your villagers from passing through it. It took me a while to figure out why my gatehouses weren't working. It turns out they were blocked off by my window placement. When building bridges, it's important to place the first part on the accessible side and then stretch it across the water to the other side you are trying to reach last. If you start the bridge from the wrong side, the builders won't be able to get to where they need to in order to start building it. The Stained Glass Workshop and Sculpture Workshop are both sub-buildings for the Builder's Workshop, so they can be tricky to find since they don't appear in the build menu once unlocked. You have to edit the Builder's Workshop to add them like with the Lumber Camp extensions. Then once you add a master builder, they will only make the stained glass or sculptures as needed when you include them in a build. If you are taxing too many buildings, like mills, mines, and smiths, it will lower your labor influence cap. So if you need more influence to spend on unlocking something, just temporarily lift those taxes as needed. And finally, don't be afraid to get creative and experiment. Mix and match building parts, custom overlap buildings, and decorations without using the snap-on function. Try out a bunch of different things just to see what works. For instance, when it comes to gatehouses, one of my favorite things to do is to place wooden village gates kinda half inside of the archways. That gives a nice effect where it seems that there are open wooden gates as part of the gatehouse. Another nice little touch I like to add when decorating a wall or gatehouse is to put a two-sided standing lantern or torch hidden right in the middle of it. That makes it look like it's attached to the wall in a spot where attaching one isn't otherwise possible to place. And with that, I want to thank you all for watching, happy building everyone, and take care.